Hello, I am Chasity Craft. I'm the literacy consultant here at Kentucky Valley Educational Cooperative, and I wanted to share with you today our Child Find intervention tool for reading. We have developed this tool to assist you with providing interventions for your kids and helping some difficulties that they may be having in reading. So I want to take you through this tool, show you how it's set up so that you can navigate it easily and be able to use it in your classroom. At the top, this is just some examples of what each tier is: tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. And it's developed from the Kentucky's multi-tiered system of supports, which we refer to as MTSS. So tier 1 is instruction that is presented to the whole class. It's evidence-based instruction with standards, and it's given to everybody. These links here is just, if you wanted to click on that, this gives you an example of what an effective tier 1 classroom instruction looks like. And it takes you through how to set up your classroom and how you're going to implement this instruction. The next level is tier 2. Tier 2 instruction are for those students, and it's usually 10 to 15% of your class that still needs additional assistance with the concept. So this is going to be your small group or your tier 2 group. And these strategies are in addition to the tier 1s. And again, this is a link that will show you what that effective tier 2 instruction is going to look like. And then after you do your tier 2, you still may have some students that just don't get it. Then you move those students onto tier 3. Tier 3 instruction is more individualized and it's more intensive. This is, again, it's added onto your tier 1 and tier 2, and then they're going to get an additional tier 3 instruction. And then again, here there is another example of what effective tier 3 instruction would look like, just to give you an example of how you can set that up in your classroom. The strategies that we talk about can actually be used in each of these tiers. You can use these in a tier 1 setting, a tier 2, and a tier 3. The difference is the frequency that you serve those students and the duration and the intensity. So, for example, you can take the blending and segmenting games that we have right here, and you can do that as a tier 1 activity. But then you can also use that in your tier 2 and tier 3, but you're just going to do it more often. You're maybe do it longer. And also the intense is that targeted for just that student. So that's the differences between the 3 tiers. Reading has 5 components. So we have broken these down into the 5 components of reading. Under each of those components, we have noted some look fors, so to speak, of what the students may be experiencing. And then if you could note that, and then you can kind of pinpoint what area that they need help with. For example, we start with phonological awareness. That's the first component of reading. Then these bullets here, these are examples of what that might look like if they're having a difficulty producing rhymes, or if they cannot isolate and produce an initial, middle, or final sound. That could be a phonological awareness issue. And then it moves into the phonics, and those are some indicators that they may have. So, for example, if they have difficulty associating long and short vowels with common spellings, or if they are unable to produce one-to-one letter sound correspondence, it could be a phonics issue. And then we move to fluency. If they read slowly or they have difficulty with high frequency words, reading those, it could be a fluency issue. And then the vocabulary, here's some examples of problems that may look like a vocabulary concern. If they do not know the meaning of grade appropriate vocabulary words, can't identify word meanings using context clues in a text, Those all could fall under vocabulary. And then last we have is comprehension. So if they have difficulty summarizing text, if they can't pick out details in a text or have difficulty answering questions from a text, then it could be a comprehension issue. Now, let's go back up to the beginning, and it's all, each of the five components is set up exactly the same. We did the problem or concern, and this is just one, you don't have to read it beginning to end. You just kind of skim over it, look at your problem indicators and see what category that would fall into for your student. Once you determine what category that would fall into, then the next column is intervention strategies. So for example, if we determine that our student has a phonological awareness issue, then we can look and say, okay, here are some intervention strategies that we can use to address phonological awareness. And then the next column, we call that evidence. And that is just to kind of give you an idea of what you can do, your documentation that is showing that you are implementing the strategies for these students. And then the last column is your method of measurement. And those are actually tools that you can use to monitor these activities. So each of these components are set up like that. I'm just going to go through a couple examples just to show you how this works. But if they are blue, then they are linked to some resources for you that would help you with implementing your strategies. So, for example, let's just do phonics for decoding and encoding. I like this one because when you go here, all of these are links that you can use. So here is a virtual blending board and a mat. So all of these are activities. And then after you do the interventions, then you can come over here and find one of these that would fit. And then like a running record, these are just examples of how you can, this one tells you, it goes into detail of how to use it, how to score it. I like these down here, and these are labeled by grade labels, and you want to think about what their level your kid is functioning on. So for example, you may have a student that is in the 8th grade, but they need this 4th and 5th grade activity. This one is a really good one because all of these go into activities going on down. I hope want to do hit vocabulary a little bit, and it gives you some strategies that you can use. You can just click on these and it takes you right to it. Reading Rockets is another good resource. I love it. See, and this is example, it tells you when you use it. You could do it before, during, or after, and how to use it. You can use this individually, which would be tier 3, small groups is tier 2, or the whole class, which is tier 1. It gives you step-by-step direction on how to use this intervention. And then over here, so you could change this if you have, you could put your words in here and do the date and things like that. So you can make it yours and edit it as you need to. But I do want to show you at the bottom, we have additional resources. I wanted to highlight this one. That's why it's bold, and it also has the star beside all of it. You can come here and click, and it says diagnose the difficulty and then remediate the difficulty. So you click on this and then you ask a few questions. So whatever student you have in mind, answer a few questions. So for example, is the reader aware of print and the world around them? Yes. Does the reader have adequate knowledge of alphabets and letter sounds? Not really. So I'm going to say no. Then it automatically comes up and tells me what the difficulty might look like and why it looks like that. And then it gives you some strategies over here on the side on how to fix that. Here's just some interventions. And then here, finally at the bottom, then you have just some tools that you might can use. If you have any questions about this tool, how to use this tool, or really anything else concerning reading, please do not hesitate to contact me at chasity.craft@theholler.org, and I will be more than happy to talk to you and help you any way that I can. Thank you.